Hey, this is Ben from T3 bringing you the 2014 FFG World Top 16 coverage, and this is game 29. On the left, I have Timmy Wong playing Kenjy Jap on the right, and I have another special guest for you today. We're actually the player on the left and World's Top 3 champion, Timmy Wong.
Champion?
Champion? Hey, that's got to go for it, right?
Hey everyone.
Third, that is much better than everybody else from SoCal.
Yeah, but that doesn't make me the champion.
Well, it does here. It does with us.
Alright. Thanks.
So Kenjy Kenjy, the Jinteki player on the right, is another one of these SoCal guys, and unfortunately this match determined who knocked each other out because we are in the losers bracket here. So there's a lot riding on this match.
Yeah, it was a brutal one. Kenjy and I were not happy to be matched up in the third round.
Yeah, I think everyone's jaw pretty much dropped that knew you guys and knew it was going to be a slog. So, do you want to tell us a little bit on what you were running? Well, I guess everyone knows what you were running for court, but what did you think of Worlds?
Worlds was great. It was like the most fun I'd had in a long time. Got to play some really great Netrunner and meet a lot of awesome people and experience the wonders of Minnesota. It was fantastic.
The wonders of Minnesota in the beginning of November. For Californians, snow is not a thing that you're used to.
Yeah, I managed. We did get snowed in for a day though. That was pretty rough.
Yeah, luckily you made it home safe and sound the next day though, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Alright, so it looks like both players took a mulligan here, so this is what we're gonna stick with. And I see it looks like a future perfect in Kenji's hand on the right.
Yeah. Kenjy told me after the game that he mulliganed because he particularly likes to have multiple things he can play out in the first turn and start the shell game right away. Yeah, and in our testing, he said like he felt way more comfortable if he had an agenda that he could like just play out first turn. So he was looking for that.
Yeah, he usually likes to drop a trap. Or actually, I've seen him drop a few agendas right off the bat and just see if the runner takes the bait.
Yeah, interesting playstyle.
That's what Jinteki does, I guess, right? So playing sure gamble right off the bat, it's always good to get some money flowing.
Hedge fund.
And hedge fund, yeah.
Whatever.
Pretty standard, at least for... That's what you want to see. And taking a credit for the next click.
And installing a new remote.
Mm-hmm.
No fear here.
No, but most likely, I don't think he installed that Future Perfect, so it's probably going to be a House of Knives play. And you see exactly what you want to right off the bat, though.
Yeah.
That Desperado hitting the table.
And here I'm about to play good old Camp Siphon.
Yeah, that is the one problem that Jinteki seems to have playing against Criminal. At least this variant that doesn't have a lot of ice, is it seems really susceptible to a Count Siphon.
Yeah. His first hand, I believe, had ice, and he thought maybe it was a mistake to mulligan it. Yeah. Because now, seeing this opportunity, I'm like, alright, I should just go for it here before the Count Siphon gets net damaged out of my head somehow.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, taking him back a turn, because basically now all as he did for last turn is just install a card and do nothing else. So definitely put him in a good spot. And it net you so much money since you're Gabe, too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get the extra credits for your ability, the extra credits for Desperado.
Right.
And, oh!
Boom, psychic
running
field.
right into that psychic field.
This is dicey here. This is my third click, so I only have one card in hand. And he could potentially have all sorts of ways to murder me.
And you ran with the 2 tags, so if he's running some Scorch Punish, this could be real rough for you here.
Yeah.
And what was that? Security testing, Katie, and Special Order that you lost?
Looks like it.
Drawing last click, afraid of that neural.
Yeah. So yeah, if he has double neural or Scorched here, I'm dead. But that's the risk I accepted. I felt like holding on to the Siphon was too conservative because I would probably just lose it. It's a too important card to lose that here.
Yeah, and Jinteki doesn't really have any great ways to gain economy. I can't remember if Kenji's actually running Celebrity Gift, but without it, they just have those assets, really, and obviously he's not going to play Sundew, so it'd be Mental Health Clinic, but you have more than enough money to trash it.
Right. And Celebrity Gift isn't really synergistic with his plan of making the runner very confused.
Right. One thing, actually, how do you feel about running all of the remotes on Jinteki? You know, we saw you do it last turn, but is that something that you generally suggest doing? Is running every remote Jinteki puts down?
That's my general plan, because at least early on, their unadvanced remotes could be really scary 3-1 agendas, Heal a Hand, Psychology, or House of Knives, which make the game much harder for you if they score it. And the bad things that can happen to you aren't so bad. But,
like this Fetal.
Yeah. Or, like, basically Psychic Field is usually the worst one. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously dangerous. They can mind game you. Chris Hinks, like, really murdered me in the Swiss rounds with his crazy Jinteki play.
And he's the starter, or the founder of the Cambridge PE, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Playing against him was a scary experience. But yeah, I generally try to run unadvanced remotes when I can. Gotta keep them honest and make it hard for them to get out that important first agenda.
Yeah, and here with that, since you stole Fetal, that's pretty big. Like, it kind of sucks, but as long as you can afford to pay it and lose the cards, that's a really, really useful agenda to have. It's better than just getting pinged by all of Jinteki's one-pointers all game.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's good to check the remotes, because if you don't, then they can just leave, like, whatever sitting out there. Like, that Fetal could have been out there all game, and if I never checked it, that's the 2 points I'll never get.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very true, too. Especially once it starts getting advanced, then they start getting really scary. Because any of those things, like Cerebral Overrider, I know Kenjy plays Cerebral, we saw that in one of our last videos. But landing a Cerebral Overrider after a Mushin, or even just for 2, is pretty devastating. Especially in this type of variant where Kenjy deals net damage and has the like Neurals and stuff to really punish.
Right. Okay, so a lot of stuff happened there. Despite my run remotes policy, he word compression me into a situation where I can safely run, and he scored a Heal a Hand Psychology, which is really big for Jinteki, because now they don't have money problems. Yeah,
I'm sure this is going to be where Kenji's money comes for the rest of the game. And that indexing, though, is going to be huge.
Yes.
So good against Jinteki.
Yes, best card in my deck here. I was very lucky to draw it.
Is it only a one-of?
My one-of, yeah.
And planned assault for it?
Nope.
No?
Nope. The night before the tournament, I was like, I made 1 extra influence in my deck. Should I you might remember this. Should I upgrade quality time to a diesel or R&D interface to an index? And you guys convinced me to play indexing, which was, I think, a good decision.
Awesome. So I guess we'll take a little bit of credit here for whatever happens.
Yeah, totally.
Now that you mentioned it, I do remember. That was a late night playing games in the hotel. But
yes.
Anyway, you ran R&D after the indexing, scored a House of Knives, and obviously didn't see anything else, so you decided to run the risk with his hand and found a Future Perfect.
Yes.
And he doesn't have that much money, so you could really try and capitalize on this if you want to try hitting HQ.
Yeah. And HQ has just become my main target, but I get it first try, and that's huge. Now I have 6 points suddenly.
That's so big. And he doesn't have any money left?
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah. So yeah, the Future Perfect Psy games are like, they're super good. It's great that the agenda protects itself, but sometimes when I've been playing Jinteki recently, and I feel like it can get a little bit predictable.
Yeah, it's so swingy.
Yeah, so it can either be, a waste of money and 3 free points for the runner, or pretty big. But did Kenjy just take 3 there when he had Heal a Hands out? on his turn?
I didn't see his actions clearly. It's possible.
Oh man.
I know we forgot one one PE trigger, which is easy to forget. But yeah, hitting that snare was big. Basically, whenever Jinteki's under 4 credits, you're like, run everywhere, trash all the things, hopefully.
And oh yeah, now you see the Gnarly MP, so now you at least know there's one for sure there. And you know his next 5 cards too, right? So you have a good idea of what's going to be in his hand and what's coming up. So this gives you a lot of control, actually.
Yeah.
And the economic advantage with Desperado and your ability. So you're running on HQ 4 times, basically just net you 6 credits.
Yeah. Not that money will like do anything here. I don't have feedback filter.
Sure, but still, it's nice to have. Now you can play your Mimic and go through all that Jinteki ice without worrying about ever having money.
It's something I'll never have to worry about, yeah.
Do you think that ice placement over R&D was the best move there? Like, instead of putting it over HQ and at least making it more difficult to get your ability to fire?
Well, like I said, money is no longer really an issue. I have probably all the money I'll need in this game. And he's clearly signaling that he doesn't have agendas in hand. And if I get an agenda, I win. So I think it's a good move.
That's true. Didn't think about that. But that even actually makes the the missed Heal Hands. And I think he did it again here.
Oof.
Oh no, okay. So he Heal Hands installed that time, but if the turn before that, if he had Heal Hands and gained a credit, he would have had 4, which could have triggered that snare.
One big reason why Heal Hands is so great.
Yeah. Getting the free
0 to 4.
Well, not free, but 0 to 4 in 1 turn is huge.
So if you notice, I've actually been floating tags ever since my first turn Siphon, which is dangerous because I'm pretty sure he runs 1 Scorched. But he hasn't had it so far, and I see... so I haven't bothered to remove them yet. I've been too busy drawing cards and trying to run while he's vulnerable.
But you do have that a little bit of control, because after the first turn, when you ended your turn with 2 tags and 0 cards, if he didn't have the Scorched there, you were probably safe from it, because you indexed right after that.
Yes.
So you knew the next 5 cards at least, and if it wasn't in his hand, he would have won.
Yes, but here, I just ran through the 5 cards on top of his deck, and he was about to draw the 6th card, so I spent 3 clicks clearing all the tags, in case he draws Scorched and I lose to that. Yes. Spoiler alert, he drew the Scorched that turn. So.
Clutch. That's so clutch.
Yeah, Kenjy was mad.
Hey, that's what it is, right? You had the awareness to look for the 5th card. Oh, there it is.
Oh, boy.
That's huge. See, your Desperado credits just paid for the tag removal.
Very true.
Do you play? You must play Plascrete. This looks like a tag meet variant.
No Plascretes.
No Plascretes. Do you usually float the tags like that?
It's situationally dependent. Against Wayland, it would probably not be advised usually. Yeah, in other like Gabe builds, I've run Decoy or Crash Space, but in this one, I just decided to shoot all of it because I was so focused on beating NEH. Like any slot on neat damage protection felt like a huge hindrance against them.
Yeah, and NEH was very, very active in the tournament. We'll say about half the field.
40% or so, yeah. I mean, some people teched against it and played against mostly other decks, but I faced almost like mono NEH, so I ended up making some good decisions there.
What was your win percentage? If you don't mind sharing how your anti-NEH tech fared?
I went 8-2 over the weekend.
8-2, wow. So that's all it takes to get to 3rd place, right? 8-2 in Swiss, and then superb top 16 play.
Well, that's including top 16 and also pre-Swiss, the preliminary tournament. winner tournament.
Oh, okay, all right. So interesting choice to put out the R&D interface and the corroder. Usually you don't see multi-access like that against Jinteki. Like, any reason you felt safe enough against the snare? Oh, you trashed 2 snares already, so I guess that has helped.
Yeah, and I still like having one interface generally. It makes your runs just so much more efficient and better at getting the agendas. Like, it's worth the slight additional risk. The second and third interfaces, usually not as much.
Got it. Do you play in, I haven't seen a Deus Ex here. I don't know if you have the influence. That might be a little bit too much anti-Jinteki, but...
Yeah, no. I don't play hate cards. Just go in and die like a man.
Live and die by the sword?
Right.
Well, you have the rig here is mostly set up, so you don't have too much. Oh, and with the Overmind, you really don't have anything else to fear in terms of ice. So that'll get you through enough code gates. But Jinteki usually just has like the Yaguras and a couple odd ones here and there. They really don't have much in the way of code gates.
Right. So here it's clear that the game is just down to R&D. That's where the agendas are. Well, okay, now he advances something. Oh, Mushin.
Notion.
He motioned something, yeah. If he draws agendas, he can advance them, and they could be Overrider. But I just need to hopefully run R&D and find an agenda there. So that's my plan.
Are you going to bother with the remotes anymore here? Like, I guess they're kind of more risk than reward, right?
At this point, yeah, mostly.
Because especially like that Mushin, if that's a cerebral overrider that he Mushin, then that's probably going to be game there, right? You would think with 3 brain damage?
It certainly makes the game a lot dicier than it has to be when I have 6 points. So, yeah, I don't think I'll be running that unless he has no credits.
Yeah, better to err on the side of caution here. And you did run R&D, and it looks like he popped Jackson after rezzing a Yagura and a pop-up, I think, which is kind of a cool splash. So, shuffling back in a few snares and thinning out that agenda density a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Not to mention getting the snares back.
So he rezzed the Yagura, and I could break it with my Overmind, and I decided to break only the net damage subroutine. So he looked at the top card, which wasn't an agenda, and then he shuffled, so he lost that advantage. So it's probable that he should have Jackson maybe before the Yagura fired. Though I'm not sure there's a window. No, there is a window for that after the paid abilities.
Yeah, before he rezzed the ice, or when he rezzed the ice, he would have been able to do that. But I guess why bother at that point? Because you still could have then broken that subroutine, or you know what I mean? Like
that's true.
It wasn't a guarantee that you were going to let those subroutines fire. And rezzing the Yaguri here is a pretty good play, because if you did break both of those, then spending 4 for a one-shot against Yagura is not as good.
Yeah. Yeah, but my Overmind is limited, so if I had broken the other sub too, that would have been it. And I would have had to start taking that damage on these R&D runs. Yeah, but the R&D interface lets me kind of ignore that part of Yagura for a bit. I still get an access, even if the top card isn't an agenda.
Right. That's true. That is a good point. The R&D interface really does help you out a lot here. And not to mention, if he, for whatever reason, cycles anything that isn't, or that is not an agenda, then you get to see 2 fresh cards instead. But I don't think Kenjy got this far by doing that.
So I think what kind of happened there behind the scenes was me accidentally getting a glimpse of the 3rd card of R&D, and we called Lucas over to ask what should be done there. And I think his answer was to like shuffle and then peek at a new card.
So you got to see. Oh, and there's the
point. Yeah.
There's the false lead.
So the top the top of R&D was Psychic Field Hedge Fund, and I trashed the Psychic Field, and I ran again, and the agenda was under the Hedge Fund. And here, Kenjy is telling me about the awful Scorched Earth situation.
And the Philotic that it looks like he had motioned on the table.
Oh man,
which
yeah.
would have been pretty rough for you too.
That would have been pretty rough. I could have easily died if I missed there. If I hit a snare, I think I would have died.
Oh yeah, then he could have scored out the... Oh, and then looks like that was the next card too. Or that he threw that from hand. So you pretty much sniped that agenda in the safest spot you possibly could have.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky that game.
So I guess I'm going to take this opportunity. What do you think of the competitive rules for Netrunner right now? Do you think the tournament rule structure is robust enough?
No. I don't think there are really like any established rules right now for handling these situations. It's pretty much just up to the discretion of the TO. And I don't really think that's a sustainable way to go forward. Yeah, because like the TO is just human. Even if it is Lucas, like he's made some weird calls, at least at this tournament.
Yeah, and I know one of them was Dan's accidental 4-click turn that he rewound a little bit, but...
Yeah. Yeah, it just leads to like bad feelings all around when stuff is not clear and gets resolved. Someone will feel unsatisfied with the outcome. So I think there's room for a more systematic treatment of tournament rules, though it is a challenging problem for sure. Netrunner has so many corner cases that can be considered.
Yeah, and especially when you deal with the hidden information that Netrunner in particular has, where you can, only half of the players actually might know everything that's going on. So there's a lot of room there for miscommunication and confusion.
Yeah, huge. I remember one small tournament I played in, my opponent accidentally played down a blue level clearance in a remote, and he thought it was an agenda that he was trying to score. So I inside jobbed there, and I found blue level clearance. And we called the TO over, and he eventually ruled that my opponent could put the blue level clearance back into his hand and give me back my inside job. And I thought that was a horrible ruling.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really think that's the best way to handle it, but again, there really isn't any rules for these things. So it makes it hard for TOs sometimes because, on the one side, TOs don't necessarily want to be hard on players, or because most of the times they're their friends, right? So you don't want to be hard on your friends or, make anyone feel like they were mistreated or anything like that. But it's just because none of these rules are actually laid out that, a TO can't just say, well, this is what I have to do, I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely. And, we don't want to discourage new players either. We're always trying to, make Netrunner welcoming for everyone involved. I don't know. I think having a good set of working rules would just help everyone. So hopefully the judge program that Fantasy Flight has hinted about will provide some of that.
Hopefully. All right, and that's all we have time for today. So thank you, everyone, for watching, and thank you very much, Timmy, for commenting with me, and hopefully I'll have you on again real soon.
Thanks so much for having me out here, Ben. This was pretty fun.
Anytime. Everyone at home, have a good day. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.